Hello everyone, my name is Michael and today I want to start talking about real estate. When you're thinking about trying to make different streams of income, there are so many different mechanisms and paths out there for doing just that. Are you trying to work towards something that requires a bit of active effort on your part, like a business, for example, which could be a physical business like a restaurant perhaps, or an online business like e-commerce if you do drop shipping? Of course, after you get your business set up and operating, depending on what the nature of your business is, you can direct it towards a path where you don't need to be as actively involved with it and make it a bit more passive for you. On the other side of the token, you can work towards that which is by nature meant to be predominantly hands-off. What screams out to me the most in this aspect personally would be investing in public securities, assets like stocks, bonds, index funds, things of that sort. This could be something that is more active on your part if you're not the kind of person that wouldn't want to take the path of investing and forgetting, but public securities are generally meant to be held for the long term. I look at real estate and I see it as a mix of both an active and passive stream of income. It is passive in the sense that after you have it set up and whatnot, it can become something that is truly hands-off, and you are able to collect income with virtually no additional effort on your part. This could be manifested in the form of simply collecting monthly payments from rent, and you can simply watch the value of your property grow over time, which is something that happens with no additional effort on your part. However, I say real estate is also an active stream of income too, because let's face it, you will have to put forth an effort to maintain your property and keep it in a respectable condition. I'm not even talking about someone recklessly vandalizing and destroying it, although that certainly is a possible scenario. But even if you left your property untouched and alone for a really long time, it will degrade over time. It may not happen overnight, but it will. Slowly but surely. So maintenance is not something we can really forget about, even though we might want to. But it's not just that. If you want to rent out your property to a tenant, you have to find a tenant. Once you have an interested tenant, you have to screen them and make sure they're a good fit, make sure they're reputable. This could be like looking at their credit reports and seeing if they have a history of making reliable on-time payments. You might want to do a background check on them. The process of finding a tenant for your rental property can be as simple or as complicated as you want or need it to be. There is another aspect of real estate that I haven't talked about yet, and that is the fact that it does have a high barrier of entry if you want to get involved with it. This high barrier of entry primarily stems from the fact that in order to get started, you will need a lot of capital because let's face it, property is expensive. There's no way around that. It's just a fact. If you want to really get deep in the trenches of real estate, you will need a lot of capital. This factor alone makes real estate inaccessible to a lot of people. But let's say you don't have a lot of capital to purchase property. Is it still possible for you to get involved with real estate? The answer is yes. It is possible. It is possible for you to invest in real estate without owning any property, but it is going to look different. It's going to look different because you're not going to be involved with the property yourself. That will instead be delegated to someone else. And by someone else, I really mean a company. I am talking about investing into a type of public security called a REIT, or Real Estate Investment Trust. A REIT is a publicly traded company that owns income-producing real estate. When you invest into these companies, they pay back a portion of their profits to their investors in the form of dividends. Depending on the REIT that you invest in, the amount given back to investors annually could be as high as 90% of the company's taxable earnings, which is actually a rule that designates how REITs can operate. In practice, though, it can actually be below 90%. Because of law loopholes, so it is important to research different REITs you might be interested in and go from there. But there are generally three different types of REITs. There are equity REITs, mortgage REITs, and hybrid REITs. Equity REITs are real estate companies that purchase commercial properties and rent them out to produce income. Mortgage REITs provide financing for real estate owners. The owners pay interest on these mortgages, and that interest is split amongst the investors. Hybrid REITs are a mix of both equity REITs and mortgage REITs. If you do want to invest in real estate through a REIT, you can purchase individual shares of companies like Realty Income, for example, which is an equity REIT. And in addition to observing the share price grow over time, you will also collect monthly dividends and reinvest those dividends back into the company if you want to. If you are going to do this, it is very important that you get this part right, because if you do not invest in sound companies, some random REIT that might have a high dividend can fail one day, and you will lose a lot of your investment. So it is very important for you to do your own research. If that sounds too stressful for you, you can also purchase shares of real estate index funds. When you buy into these index funds, you are automatically diversifying into many different real estate sectors, which substantially reduces your risk of losing your investment. An example of this would be the Vanguard Real Estate Index Fund ETF shares with ticker VNQ. This is a publicly traded index fund that aims to keep up with the growth of the market. You might have heard of mutual funds before, which aim to beat the market. That is not what VNQ is. The dividend yield for VNQ is 3.8% right now, which is not too bad. If you want to take a lot of the heavy lifting out of picking and choosing REITs, a real estate index fund is the way to go. I myself have not invested in real estate index fund at this time. Right now, I am primarily involved with equity REITs, and my favorite equity REIT right now would be Realty Income. I like Realty Income for a few reasons. They actually do pay out close to 90% of their earnings to investors, so that is nice. They also do have rental income from a lot of different clients, including Walgreens, 7-Eleven, Walmart, Kroger, Home Depot. These are all companies we've heard of before. At this time, they are involved in 51 different industries, so they are diversified across the properties that they rent out to. This makes me comfortable investing in Realty Income. But investing into a real estate index fund generally brings a lot less risk to it. If you guys are interested in checking out how much I have invested, you can check out my Robinhood Adventures videos, where I talk about my portfolio. Thank you so much for watching.